Hey guys, this is Temple with Temple Beautiful. I haven't been around for a while, and so I thought I would kind of explain, what's been going on. And it, it's so strange and bizarre. Like my life is so strange and bizarre that um, a lot of times I think like, why would I even, record what's been going on? I mean, it's crazy enough, and it's not normal. And so I've been thinking about this, and I came to the conclusion that normal is changing. What is normal is changing. And I think if people hear my story, then in some way it may be able to help them. And so I am going to take a leap and just tell you guys what I've been experiencing, because as we are all on the path with enlightenment, new earth, and all that stuff that's going on, and things change. Like I'm not so much even focused on that per se as just getting through me, understanding me, doing what I can, to help others and just be a good person all around. And I think with everybody's DNA upgrading and everybody's body's changing, it becomes different. And because we've never experienced this before, a lot of people may be in the dark about things that are happening. And then like when things have been happening with me, I think, well, this is what I thought was happening, but like, that's really weird. Things like that don't happen to people. And then when I find out that my thoughts were actually correct and that was happening, then I think, well, I knew it was happening. I should have just trusted myself, and I could have taken care of it a long time ago and not gone through the whole process. But sometimes I think in our personal experiences, that's what helps us grow, is our personal experiences. And that's what helps us be able to help others on the way, is navigating those experiences and being able to be okay with them not being normal or sounding really out of this world. And in turn, by putting your story out there, that whomever needs to hear it, for whatever purposes, for their own growth, for their own experiences, to validate that they aren't crazy, that this stuff is actually happening, that it makes them feel better. It makes them able to help navigate a little bit better. And so that's why I'm going to tell you what's been going on. It's been very busy, not just in human world, but in galactic world as well for me, or spiritual world as well for me. All the different dimensions that I function in, there's been a lot happening. And just to navigate through those and come out on the other end, almost like going through these initiations and thinking you're completely lost, and then coming out on the other side and then having a better understanding of what's going on. So be prepared. If you want normal, this isn't normal. So, but these are my experiences, and hopefully there's some really good, what did we call that in the 1904 One Room Schoolhouse? We called them lessons, but I can't, there's like a historical word for that, but hopefully, my experiences can help you guys with some of the lessons that I've learned. So I have an outline here, and I also have my journal here to read a few things. So we're just going to start with January, because I haven't done anything. Really. And so, so I haven't fallen off the face of the earth, but I kind of did. So let's just start with January. I have this really bizarre confession to make, first of all. Um, and I'll try and keep this short. So, through my entire life, I had this really weird, not weird, but different viewpoint of Michael Jackson uh, than I think a lot of other people did. I always felt, obviously now it's getting all blurry because now people are showing up. I always felt like I had this bizarre connection, which I think a lot of fans did. So it's not that that's unique or special, but in a different way, and it's very hard to explain. It's very hard to explain. When I was younger, you know, like most of you know, I experienced a lot of my past lives in dreams because I was just jumping timelines, and I really wasn't dreaming. I was living them, and that's kind of the same thing that happened with Michael Jackson also, but it like wasn't him. It was just more of a soul person. So you can't really connect the person who he was here. I mean, you can because it's like part of who he is, but it becomes a little bit difficult. Anyway, he's always been around like my whole life. When he passed, it became a different type of being around, and he like hangs out frequently or comes to check in frequently, or we have conversations frequently. And he does this with a lot of people. So it's not like I'm special or anything like that. There's a lot of people who have channeled him. I don't have to channel him. He just comes and hangs out, and, you know, we talk about the day and stuff like that. But I'm sure I'm not the only one. So I'll actually talk about that in this, but in January 2018, I actually told him that I needed a break from him because I was having a really hard time trusting myself and trusting what dimension, like learning, not really learning, but trying to be in my current timeline, because there are so many things going on different timelines in different dimensions in the galactic world, and I was just having a really hard time being present in the here and now. And so, you know, if I'm working or whatever, and like he's peeking over my shoulder and like talking to me and carrying on conversations, it's hard to concentrate. And so he was around a lot in January, and so he kept saying to me, you know, be careful, be prepared. And so I had no idea what that meant. And so I finally said that, like, I need a bit of a break because I'm having issues with like dimensions, and like, you're always here. So how do I know if I'm not just making this up? And so we had a conversation. He's like, I have other things to do. Like, you know, it's not like he hangs out with me all the time. But he's like, I'm going to go because you want me to go, but just be careful and be prepared. And that's all I can say. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever that means, fine, whatever. And like, you know, like we fight and stuff. So it's not like, I don't know, it's like a brother sister type relationship. And it always has been. So at that time in January, I was doing a lot of galactic languages. I was recording them. I was writing them. I think I'm going to sneeze. I was actually getting a lot of downloads. And then it was really strange. Like after he left, I was sort of struggling with, I guess just struggling with everything. Like I just didn't feel connected. Like even though I was still receiving downloads and still doing my thing, you know, reading and writing and knowing what was going on in different dimensions and working with past lives and like all that stuff, and still running my business, I felt like there was something wrong. Like my switch was turned off, and that was the only way I could describe it. That I wasn't really getting anything clear coming through. Like normally everything is very clear for me when it comes through. You know, like a lot of people, they 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 work really hard at like meditating and like you know, like it's I don't know, I started to have to work really hard, and I felt like things weren't really coming through, but that somehow I had flipped my switch off, and that I wasn't open to receiving the information that was coming in. So then, and that was in February. So then in March, I was trying to put this all together, and feeling like I was switched off, feeling like I was having a hard time navigating my humanness, almost like humanness, almost like I lost my a part of being human. It was very hard to describe. I was noticing a lot of body changes, and this is not just in March, but this has been like coming up to March. This was finally the time that it just came to a head. You know, Mike was still kind of absent for quite a while, and I was noticing that something is different, something is changing. When I would take photos for like my business and stuff, or if I was out and about doing business stuff, people would say to me like, oh, you know, your photo looks really harsh, or are you on a diet, or your cheekbones are just really tall, and your face shape is so harsh. The lines are just so sharp, and they would say like really random things to me like this, and I started to notice it. I had this problem for years actually, where my skin, like in certain areas of my body, my skin would be very, very blue, and I always thought that it was because like the indigo in my genes would rub off, you know, but like I never really met anybody else who had that issue, that their indigo and their genes would constantly rub off. And I started noticing, like, especially, oh, see, now I'm getting off, like, especially like up here and in my face and stuff, that instead of being like nice and full and round, kind of like it is now, it was getting very elongated-ish, and my veins were starting to show through, and my skin was changing. I was getting really shiny skin, and it seemed really thin. I mean, my skin's always kind of been thin, but it seemed really thin. It had this bluish tint to it, like more so than normal. I mean, it normally always kind of had a bluish undertone to it, but it was just, everything was everything was just so much more than what it had ever been. It just seemed like I had always noticed these things in the past, but all of a sudden it was like they had sped up, and they were actually, it seemed like my body was changing and my face was changing. And to top that all off, for as many years as I can remember, even when I was younger, but more so in my adult life, I would have these dots, raised bumps, that on both sides I had a strand. I have a strand here, and I'd have a strand like under here, and it would be on both sides, and then down the center of the back of my neck. And then I would have these ones weren't raised. I still have a bit of them, but you can see like it's like discolored discolored here. And this one, I thought maybe it was like a skin condition or something, but you can see like there's little bumps here as well. And it just got to the point where it just seemed more than like a human condition. And I felt like I was losing my function to be able to communicate with normal people. It was just, I don't know how to describe it, other than it was very disconnected feeling. Like I know that, and some of you will understand this, that you have like very human people on this planet. And then you have those starseeds who come in. And then in my case, you have like human aliens where like we've been here a lot, but we're not the first time here. We're actually like actually like the Galactics that come into human bodies to keep working with this big project. And so I knew for quite a while that, you know, I was like an alien in the skin. It's not that big of a deal to me, but what was a big deal was that things are really starting to change. And I was becoming like really depressed about it, because you have to be able, and especially like with starseeds and stuff too, I think for a lot of us it becomes hard to function in a very human world. And I think that's where a lot of us go, like fall by the wayside, because we function differently than normal human people do, right? And so for me, it was just beyond that point. Like, like I just lost contact with reality, with humans, with being in this skin. It just was a little overwhelming. And then to top it all off, I was getting, you know, blue skin. I was getting my raised dots here. My face started to change. And so so in March, I had a meeting with some of the Syrians. I had a meeting with some Syrians, and I was talking with them, and I was like, what's the deal? Like, you guys gotta let me know. And like, I'm not primarily Syrian this time, although I have a lot of Syrian in me. Right now I'm primarily Pleiadian. But you know, everybody is mixed in. It's a little bit different because I am a specific alien race at this time, where I don't have a lot of mixed in. But so I had them do some tests on me, some DNA testing and some scans, and they came back and they told me that the reason that this was all happening was because it wasn't I wasn't making it up. It was like an actual problem where the human DNA that I had in my body as I got older was being taken over by my galactic DNA. And like, this sounds crazy. And, and I totally understand it if you guys like just think I'm off my cracker, because this stuff is just strange, but this is my life. So, so they explained to me exactly what was happening. And I explained to them like what issues I'm having. And so we kind of went back and forth. So like my main Pleiadian person, from the Pleiades, the planet Maya. And so that's what was overtaking. And I pretty much said, like, I don't know if this is something that's happening with the few of us that are here, because there are a few more than me here. But it's a serious issue. Like, it's not so bad if you don't have to be out in the public, but like with the business, you have to be out in public and people have to see you. You have to be able to talk with humans and be able to connect with them, you know, on a personal basis. And if I'm losing that, and if I'm starting to look more galactic, this isn't going to work. And so I said, is there any way that I can get some infusions of human DNA to help my situation? Because I just can't take it anymore. And so, yeah, so they're like, well, we're going to work on it. We'll keep you posted. And we'll start giving you infusions. So I was really excited. I was thinking that things are finally going to look up for me. And like, they even like, we're talking about how they were going to start reconstructing my face, so it's like a little more round and stuff like that. And as you can see, it's actually, I still have my high cheekbones, just because I will always have my high cheekbones. But my face is like, in my cheeks here, it's filling out. And so like my brow ridge here is filling out. I don't have that massive hole that I had in here. For the first time in so long, like my alien spots, or my, you know, my alien spots are gone. And so it's been really wonderful, but I've been undergoing human DNA transfusions. So it's a little different than like most people are like, oh, like I would really love some galactic DNA transfusions. And I'm on the other end of the spectrum where I need to have human transfusions in order to keep looking human, right? So that happened in March, and anytime you're getting infusions, anytime you're getting DNA upgrades, so this is a huge process. This is not something that they can do overnight. This is messing with my DNA. Like they said to me that when this was all planned out, and when the few of us, because there's only a few of us, it's not like there's a lot of like starseeds and stuff, but there's only a few of us galactic human people here. They were unsure how the DNA would function with the human DNA as, you know, as you grow older, and they're realizing that it's actually for these other people too. And I know one of them. I actually know more than one, but the one specifically, she's having the same problem where her alien DNA is overtaking her human DNA, and I forget what race she is. She is not Pleiadian. She's like a friendly reptilian, but you can totally tell. You can just totally tell. So they're working on her too. It's just an issue, and they're fixing it. And we didn't know. You know, when when we had this great big plan of some of us coming in here, we didn't know. But it can be fixed. It's just exhausting. You know, any sort of DNA upgrades and things, it's exhausting. So a lot of the times I am really tired, but I'm really happy with the results. I'm being able to communicate better. I'm being able to feel more, like have a lot more emotion. Not that I'm like overly emotional, because I never was. Like that's just a galactic trait. Like we're not super emotional, and people say, well, you don't have any feelings, or you're not. I mean, we do have feelings, and we just don't get in that drama of things. Like we recognize our feelings, we take care of it, and like that's it. We don't do the drama. So I've been really tired lately too. Lots of stuff happening. But okay, so with feeling disconnected with everything, I actually, in March, I had a conversation with Michael, and I said, you know, now that I know what's going on, things can get fixed, but I just still feel like my switch is turned off. And he said, your switch is turned off. And it's so you can focus now on the changes that are happening with you personally, and you don't have to focus on what's going on in the galactic world, what's going on in all these different dimensions. And he's like, I want to show you something. And so remember, I used to work in a professional theater. So he brought me over to this like big, it would have been very old. Like they had these in really old theaters. It was this huge like switch where this wooden handle sticks out, and it's like a metal thing, and you flip it on like this at the side of the stage. And he said, if you flip that on, you're going to have all your, how did he say it? Like all your synapses in your brain and everything will connect, and then you will be hooked back up. But it's not that quick of a process. It takes a while. And so he said, it's up to you. And I said, well, can you help me turn it on? Because once it's a part of your life, like once you're always connected, it feels weird when you're not connected. And then it feels really weird if you're not connected in your like galactic, spiritual, other dimensional way, and you're not connected in the human way, it's just a very lost feeling. So I was like, yes, like let's turn the switch back on. So we turned it on, and it was the picture in my mind was amazing. It was like, if you could picture like a warehouse with all these boxes, kind of like an Indiana Jones warehouse, and everything was dark. But then all these sections of these lights popped on, and it just went for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. That's what I saw after we turned that switch back on. And so everything was good. Like I started doing more automatic writing. I started doing more languages. I hadn't recorded anything because it was just like really odd. Like, how do I tell you guys about this? And I'm still getting my infusions, so still being tired and just trying to then function in a human world. And so then, okay, so I did this in April. I did this really big auto writing where it talked about my experiences on Earth as a galactic being on Earth with my twin. And they pretty much said, when I was writing out it, they said that trying to comprehend your past experiences through a human brain or a human mind will not give you the two pieces, like the piece of the puzzle or like the piece that you're looking for, because you were never human. And so I went through this phase where, like, in my galactic writings, they were trying to explain to me how I can better understand it from a human perspective, but that I shouldn't try too hard because you can't, the human brain is not wired to be able to understand these things. So they were trying to explain it to me in a way that I could understand my own history. And it was pretty amazing. Like, for a while, I actually, one night I recorded the story of the beginning of Earth. And I wrote it down, but I got so tired that I fell asleep, and so I never finished. I got to the part of like the first idea of like putting various DNA sequences together to take. You can't really call them humans that were here at the time because they weren't really humans like we think of humans. And the way I saw it, the way they showed me in my like movie, they were like black shadow things that were like all different sorts. It's hard to explain, but the first idea of like making a human, and I stopped there because I fell asleep. But things were going well. I was switched back on. Things were starting to come back. And then in mid-April, something really random happened. If I couldn't think my life could get any stranger or crazier, this person like flew into my life. And I had met this person randomly and actually it's on YouTube, Reiki with Will. I had met this person through Reiki with Will because Will does like meditations every week. And so I was actually working that day, but I had this ping to go join in this meditation. And so it was really strange because my mind was in working, not really what was going on. But when I flipped it on and I got everything on, they were just talking about how this guy talks the same language that I do, or has the same language that I do. And then they wanted us to speak the same language. And so I had no idea who this person was. And it was incredible. I can actually post it. I can actually post it at the bottom of this video if you guys want to check it out. If you want some crazy DNA upgrades and some crazy downloads, you'll have to listen to it because it'll light you on fire. It'll light you on fire. So what happened was we started speaking, not knowing who the other person was. And I popped back into a past timeline, a past Egyptian timeline. And I didn't know who the person was that I was talking to, but I saw the face of the person. And I popped into like sexy Egyptian time. And it was like, it happened all so fast, but it was like, I heated up from the inside out, and I was boiling, and other people in the chat or in the chat were also boiling, and it was amazing. So we kept going, and then Will said I had to go back to my ancient Egyptian to translate that. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I just had this flashback. And then I knew kind of sort of what we were talking about because I was seeing it in full color video movie in front of me. And then Wendy, you guys know Wendy, she was in there also. And she's like, whoa, you stop. This is getting like kind of sort of X-rated. And it was the weirdest experience I've ever had. First of all, finding someone who speaks my exact language, galactic language or ancient language or star language or whatever, however, light language. And then all of a sudden having these flashbacks and feeling very connected to this person without even knowing who this person was. It was really crazy. And that set me up in mid-April for everything that ensued after that. And if you didn't think it was crazy up until now, hang on to your shorts. Okay, so all right, so in April, all right, so a lot of things happened in April. I'm going to keep it really short, and I'm not going to explain much about it other than things started to move really fast. I had a lot of past timeline flashbacks and movies, except the problem with me is that because I had so many experiences in Egypt, because I had so many experiences in so many places, sometimes the timelines like cross for me, and it's easy for me to get them confused because I don't see me. Like if I saw me in the movies, I would know exactly where I am or what time period I am, based on clothes or based on like things. But I don't, because I'm seeing through my eyes as I was in that timeline, if that makes sense. So the only thing I can see is everything that's in front of me and off to the sides, like furniture, the person in front of me. And so I started like really digging into the history of trying to figure out who this was, why I felt the way I felt about him, so comfortable, and we had such the connection. It was really weird because it was like almost a twin connection, but not really a twin connection. But it was along those same lines. And so he actually told me that he had been searching for me for a long time, and that, I had everything shut off so he couldn't find me, and that it was very specific that so-and-so, every time that we get together on the face of this earth, like chaos ensues and things change rapidly, and they don't want us to get together, but that, I've found you, I finally found you. So yeah, I don't know, just really crazy things. And that we had talked about what we were going to do with this ability and this power, and how we were going to use our languages and everything that, like, our energies and stuff that came off of us to activate people. And we kind of had this all sort of set up as to how things were going to go, but stuff was moving so fast that before I knew it, like my diet had totally changed, and I was only eating blueberries, like blueberries and eggs, and like not eating any meat. And I actually eat not a lot of meat, but like enough meat. It was just really weird. Everything had changed. In addition to my human stuff coming in, my human DNA, my other DNA, my crystalline, everything was being activated so fast that the body couldn't keep up. And I was just worn out. But yet it was so exciting because I didn't know what was happening, and things were changing so fast that it was almost unnerving because I couldn't keep up with like the magic of it. I couldn't keep up with What I did then doesn't work now, for energy work, for all of that. I couldn't keep up with it. It was happening so fast. And so I finally figured out who this person was, or I'm pretty sure I figured out who this person was, because of his face and because of the stuff that we talked about. And I'm not so sure I'm going to talk about his name, but he's really well known in Egypt. I think he was actually deified at one point. But so what had happened then at the end of April was that the one morning everything went downhill from there. He sent me a message and he said, we need to talk. And I'm also self-employed. So I didn't get back to him right away. And I had two friends who don't know each other also messaged me and said that something was wrong, that they need to talk to me because I was under attack. Right? This is crazy stuff. But like, I'm not a normal human either. So this is not like normal stuff that people put up with. This is, this is weird stuff that only people like me put up with. And like, that's something new. Like when I was younger, before I knew anything of what was going on, I actually had a chip installed because there was an attack, and it was like this galactic worm attack. But anyway, they took care of it. The Galactics took care of it. But then it was me and again the few other people. But I had a chip put in to help them keep track of, like, anything else was tried or something else would happen, stuff like that. Well, that chip always malfunctioned, so they finally fixed it and put it someplace else, which is really good for me, because it caused, actually towards the end, it caused a lot of pain in this area. Okay, so when I had finally talked to him, he gave me a very in-depth briefing of what went down that night in Astral, and who's in custody, like galactic custody, and all this stuff. And then my other two friends who don't know each other said the same thing, that something's wrong, you're under attack, blah blah blah. And so I had to take a crash course in learning how to get into my new Merkaba, and learning how to use my new energies and my new magic and my new, like, just ridiculous. Okay, so then I was doing some more galactic, some more writing, and that I was told that, I think I actually have this for you guys. I wrote it down. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. This was my writing for January, February, March, April 16th. My automatic writing, it says, have faith, be patient. This is your next chapter, should you choose to accept it. You must put judgment and research aside, and you must feel your way through this, trust your way through this, and have fun. Your memories will eventually come back. Stop asking and just be. Be in the now. Don't be discouraged. You are a record keeper, and this is what you do. So help others, but let yours come in your own time. Forcing is never the answer. And so I was like, okay, like, I'll stop. I'll just stop, because I just wanted to really make sure that I pinned down who this person was, because it was just like so random that he came into my life. But they told me not to. They told me just to go with flow, and it's the next chapter of my life. And if I choose to accept it, that I'm going to learn something. So I was like, okay. So, okay, the few people that I've told about this, and this isn't even like the big thing, but when people say, oh, well, the reason that you got attacked was because the reason you got energetically attacked was because you brought that into your own life, because your energy was so low, and like that's bullshit. So it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with something that I'm not able to come out in the open yet and tell you guys, but it has nothing to do with being attacked. Doesn't mean that I thought it into existence, or being attacked doesn't mean that my energy was so low that like it has nothing to do with that. If anything, it has to do with being a very bright, shining light, and it's easier to to take out. If you can take out a bright, shining light, then you can help change the whole circumvent the whole movement. You know, so if you could take out like some of the people who have really big missions or really important missions, pretty much is what I can tell you guys. So the few people I told, I was like, I can't believe like you actually think that. You're supposed to know me enough. I mean, they don't know all of it, but they should know me enough to know that like that's not why I got attacked. So so anyway, he took care of it. I got my crash course, and I thought everything was fine and dandy. Like, it was really weird though. He just disappeared. He was gone. I asked him some questions and he didn't respond to them. And then like, I just felt the need to like delete him. So we haven't even talked. But he disappeared. And then later on that week, I got hit again. So normally I see this stuff coming, or like I circumvent it, or, you know, like normally I don't ever really get hit, basically. So I did though. He disappeared. I got hit, and it was so bad that I was working in the apothecary lab, that I fell to the floor. I felt it. I fell to the floor. It felt like it ripped a hole like through my heart and through my throat chakra, all the way back through to my wings, and that my wings were shredded. Like the one side of my wings were shredded. It was horrible. It was really, really painful, because not only can I feel pain as a human, but I can feel pain, you know, as energetically also. So it was really, really painful. And so it was so bad that one of my friends, who is also a human alien, contacted me right away. They knew exactly what happened, when it happened, and I had to actually go to get special healing for it. Not like human healing, not like human energy healing. Like I had to go get galactic healing from it, and it was pretty rough. So that like started the downfall. And remember, this whole time, like when I told Michael to like just take a little vacation, you know, he kept saying, be careful and be prepared. Now I think about that a lot, but like I didn't think about that back then. It took me a long time after this to like put two and two together. So okay, so that started a downfall. So I was feeling lost. I was in pain. It was really weird. It was like I had been shut off. Like before I was shut off, but in a different way. Now it felt like everything was stripped from me. Like if I had wings, they were like broken, or if I had magic, it was taken away. It was really weird, because I couldn't access any of that information. I couldn't access any of the secret knowledge. I couldn't access my teams. I couldn't access my galactic family. I couldn't access my guides. I couldn't access Michael. I couldn't access my normal people. I couldn't. I was like so alone. And not only was I alone, like normally if I'm alone, like I still feel like the being that I am. Like I still feel powerful, and like, you know, like I have knowledge and I know how to use it and stuff like that. But this was different. I was like empty. I was empty, void of everything. I was just barely existing. And I didn't understand why. So then randomly in April, I received a gift. The gift was a very powerful crystal skull, just randomly. And I was told that the skull said that it actually needed to come here to help protect me on this next chapter of my life. And the skull was actually given to me by Yeshua's reincarnated brother. So, which I think is kind of cool. And so the skull was very talkative to me even before I got it, told me all kinds of information, told me his name, where he needed to be. And after I got him, he was telling me the story of how in past timelines, he was with me there too. We had a relationship, me and this crystal skull had a relationship that went way back, and now it was time to reunite again for this specific purpose. And I didn't know what this specific purpose was. I was just hoping that he could help me out of this issue, because I didn't know, for once in my life, I didn't know how to navigate it, and it was very scary. And remember, it said when I was doing that automatic writing, it said, this is your next chapter of your life, should you choose to accept it. So, okay. So then one night after, and I was getting healings, I was getting energy healings and stuff. I had massive galactic healings. One night I was laying in bed, and I saw through my door, I saw 6 beings come into my room, and out of the corner of my eye, so I had the vision of them coming in there, but I also saw, because the skull was above me, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw this laser beam shoot out of the skull's eyes and take down those things in my room. And I wasn't shocked, because I wasn't shocked, but I was like, wow. and he's like, it's all taken care of. And so he's like, that's my first duty. I'm here to protect you. That's what I did, millennia ago. I've always been with you. And so he's like, you don't have to worry. And I was like, okay. Well, then by the end of April, the beginning of May, I didn't hear much from him, from the skull. And I was trying to figure this out, why is he becoming distant? Why can I still can't hear my team or my guides. I thought it would just wear off. My wing healed. It was fine. I thought, I'll get back on track. So I went to seek help, because I needed to know what was going on and know if I was crazy, if this was just me, whatever, thinking something happened. Because you have to remember, even though I deal with this stuff on a day-to-day basis, I still, in that human ego portion, I still sometimes think, can this really be real? Can this really be happening, type of thing. So it's always good when somebody else verifies it for you, because then you don't feel so crazy. So in May, I went to seek help, and I asked what was going on, and I was told that I wasn't the only one. There was about 6 of us, again, 6 of us or so, that were attacked by this group called, actually, I'm not going to tell you what they're called, but it was a energetic, negative galactic group that invaded Earth in hopes that they could turn the movement around. I guess that's the only way that I can think of putting it. So, and I'm not here to install fear. It's been taken care of, but stuff like this happens on a galactic level a lot. And most of you guys have no idea that this stuff goes on. And, and that's good. You don't really need to know. You guys have your own missions of spreading love and light, and that's fine. But there are some of us who do deal with the dirtier stuff on a day-to-day basis. So, okay. So when I went to seek help, I was told that it was a specific group. I was amongst the 6, and that I said I need to get fixed. I don't know what they did to me. But like my energetic body and everything, it's like affected not only that, but it affected like the human portion of me, and I'm a mess. And like things were getting better. You know, I was getting my infusions, and like everything was going good. But I don't know what was happening now. So this is what I was told. I was told that what they did is they put a force field around, sort of like a black egg, and they put me like in this egg. It was like, if you can just like imagine, like I can, like, I don't know, like a spiritual egg. Okay. So, okay. So they put this like force field around me in this like egg, and they made me think that they had stripped all of my abilities and all my magic and all my connection, my galactic connections and things like that. It made me think that way and made me feel that way, but that it was only a cocoon or an egg or like an energy bubble, and that nothing was ever taken away from me, because nothing can ever be taken away from you. So like, this is a really good lesson. If you guys have stuck with me this long, this is a really good lesson. Nobody can ever take away your abilities. Once you have them, you have them. You know, so then they said that in order to fix this, I had to feel my own power. I had to feel my own abilities back. And it was really hard, because it's kind of like telling like a person who is so depressed that they can't even get up out of bed, you know, that, you know, life is all happy and like all you have to do is think happy thoughts, like kind of like that. Because I just felt empty, and I didn't know how to even feel like my old self, right? And so so after that, they said that all I have to do, feel my own power, stand in my own power, realize that the only thing that would ever take your power away is you. You know, they can put stuff around you to like make you feel like you're powerless, and like you know, things that do that, like not in my circumstances, where it's like a big black void of an egg. But you know, like we're around that stuff all the time with TV and commercials. Like they throw this stuff at you, so you think that you aren't powerful, so that you think that you aren't good enough. It's the same concept. It's just on a different energetic level that they did to me. So I had to learn to feel my own power back and really pick myself up by the bootstraps, and you know, like do the He-Man thing and like break out of this energy trap that I was in. And so I couldn't do it overnight. Like I had to sit and I had to really pull myself together. And, but I did, I cracked it. And in my mind's eye, I could see the crack. So like, it was like if I was in like a black hole, and like I could see myself floating, and like little pieces of white like flying past me, because there was nothing. That was it. I was just in a black hole. But what I did is I cracked the egg with my own power, with my own ability, because I realized that they can't, they can make you think that you don't have it, but they can't take it away from you. So I stood in my power, I cracked it, and as soon as I cracked that egg, as soon as I cracked it, it was amazing. I felt all this energy rush back to me. I felt my team energy, I felt my guide energy, I felt my ET energy, and I felt Michael's energy. And so right away I asked him, I said, where were you? I needed you. So like, he said, I couldn't get to you, and no one could get to you, not even your skull. And he used the name, but I'm not going to use the name. So he's like, not even your skull could get to you. He said, you were in like an isolation unit. And then I said, well, am I better now? And he said, you have a lot of protection. They're working on fixing you. And now, you know, even when you feel lost or alone or stripped of everything, you still have your true free will and all your power. Nothing can contain you and nothing can control you unless you let it. How powerful is that? I mean, that's super powerful, super powerful. And even like coming from him, where in his last experience here, you know, he always said he always felt so alone, and you know, sometimes felt lost, or like, so coming from him, but like teaching me a lesson, like he's always teaching me lessons. And I don't always listen to him though, but he tries. And so after that, things started to get better. Like I felt my energetic body healing. I felt my human body healing. It took a while. And so in June now, May, June, I'm still just getting back into the old swing of things. And I don't know. I just want to be honest with you guys. Like, you can think I'm crazy and that's fine, but like, this is what some of us are going through. And it's not because you know, our energies are so low and like we're so down in the dumps that like we bring this on ourselves. It's because of the missions that we choose to take. The greater the mission, the more impact the mission is, the harder it's going to be for you to fulfill it. This is not a piece of cake. You know, we didn't come here to like be like, oh, love and light, love and light. No, you know, there's some big missions here. And this just taught me a great lesson that, you know, no matter what happens on my journey with my mission this time that I'm here, that A, you're always learning. B, that when you get into a new dimensional or a new vibrational level, some things that you learned will have to be tweaked because they don't work on that level. I also learned that even though I feel connections, even though I have flashbacks of movies for past lives and things like that, that I need to just be with it and take it for what it is, and don't try to evaluate it. Don't try to put a human spin on it. Don't try to, you know, they always say, don't research this. Like some things in history you can't research. They didn't record it that way. So don't try to research it. It's here, it's now. We're giving this information to you. So feel it and be it and live it. And I think that's it. I mean, I think he said it best when he said that, you know, we as a group, we are powerful beings. We are so amazing, and nothing is going to keep us down, you know. And there may be some tough times here on Earth as we keep going through these cycles, and as we, you know, up our game and up our vibrational level and all this stuff that's happening. There may be tough times, but I think Michael said it best when he said that, you know, even when you feel lost, or when you feel alone, or when you feel stripped of everything, that you still have free will, and that you still have all your power, and you're still a powerful being, that you can still access that all you have to do is believe in yourself, and you have to believe in it. And I think that's probably the most important message here. So I said I was going to only talk for an hour, and it's about that time. So thank you guys for sticking with me, and I hope to get some new videos up. We've been doing a lot of traveling to actually ancient sites here in Wisconsin, and I have a lot of small light language videos to pop up for you guys that will have some activations and some downloads. And so yeah, I hope that my crazy life experiences will be able to make you guys feel less strange, less crazy, less to hopefully make you guys feel more normal, because what everybody thinks is normal is actually not normal. And once they open their eyes and realize how the world actually works and what's actually happening. That's the new normal. And so people will have experiences like my experiences. And you need to know just to hang in there, that do the best you can and reach out to those who understand you. And if you guys have questions about this, I'm more than happy to answer them. Yeah, okay. I'm going to give you a little blessing. Da kiato no tiata shinyata. Kolo dia bo ono shiata taka. Kianata hiamo to poya hanata. Kolo omayan ni kudi yashiko olonita. Mania do popiana. Na kitia shata na la aya no na bio no tia como untiana kata. Aleata ahana na apa maniana dopo naki nana ashi. Namaste.